our time, change has come to this nation too.
As we see today, controversy remains.
Affirmative action harms everybody, though in different ways.
As Thomas Sowell put it was a break from the traditional justice of equal opportunity in applying the same rules for all to a shift towards cosmic justice with a focus on equalizing prospects and creating equality of outcome.
The requirement for treating everyone the same is very simple. It's mass-produced. The requirements for cosmic justice must be handmade and tailored to each individual case.
And so it raises the question, can both equality and equity even coexist?
I had said in a video just like about a week ago, I said that affirmative action is a form of systematic racism.
That's racist.
That was racist.
It goes against white and Chinese, and it tends to benefit Hispanic and blacks. And I said, that's not a good thing, though, because that's not how we do things in this country. At least that's not how we're supposed to be doing things. Somebody in the comment was like, man, you crazy. That's crazy. Do your study. You dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. You a mess. Yeah, I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna resign.
Well, look at this. It's amazing how the world changed so quickly, right? There you have it in your face, my friend. Supreme Court strikes down college affirmative action programs. Oh, my Lord. Don't you love it? Well, I got a video for you today. It is Thomas Sowell. I think if there is one individual who speaks against this matter, it has to be Thomas Sowell. If there's any man who talks about this, exposes the wickedness that is in this, I mean, benefiting, speaking for black families, telling it like it is with a lot of common sense and also intellectual honesty, it's Thomas Sowell. He's argued and argued and argued that affirmative action is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for blacks. It's not good things for whites. No Chinese, no anybody. That's not a good thing for the country as a whole. Because why should your skin color be the reasons why you were accepted instead of the work that you put in? Hard work pays off. But you say, no. Your ancestors were slaves. So therefore, we're going to give you, it's like this hand down kind of business. It's like, no. That's not good. No. Well, strikes down. The Supreme Court's been on fire lately. They're striking everything down. I think they went after Biden's, what is it? This, I guess, loan forgiveness kind of thing. Strike that down too. It's like, man, what's next? These guys are on fire. Anyway, friends, like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Let's get to this video. Link to this video in the description below without my commentary, because I know some of you say you talk too much. Yada yada. I'm like, okay, let me slow down, calm down.
Okay.
But if you don't want to hear what I have to say, go check out the video without my commentary. Without further ado, let us now get into the heart of the message.
No one loses more than the black community when their children are not educated or when judicial undermining of law enforcement makes their streets far more unsafe than they were 40 years ago. Legal principles are not just abstract intellectual matters. They are often far more important to far more people than the specific issues which provoke single-issue organizations to venom and propaganda. If more people will look beyond this propaganda to the enduring principles which should guide the law of the nation, I am sure that more will support the nomination of Robert Bork to the Supreme Court. I don't think that judicial activism has been beneficial to minorities. One of the reasons is what I've mentioned earlier, that it's extremely hard for kids in many ghettos to get a decent education today, let's say as decent an education as I got in the center of Harlem 40 years ago, because the disruption is so much greater today and there's so little you can do about it. If you expel more black males from some schools than you expel Asian females, that becomes a court case. You have the American Civil Liberties Union intervening in these places. There were students, there were parents actually, parading, I believe in Chicago, with signs saying American Civil Liberties Union keep out because they wanted their kids to get educated. That couldn't be done if you're going to have to due process every disruptive student. I think one of the great handicaps that blacks and other minorities face across the country is that they are systematically mismatched with universities in the admissions process. That is, if Harvard feels that it must have X% of blacks, and if the pool is such that they can't get X% of blacks at the same level as the rest of the Harvard students, they're going to take those blacks who would have succeeded in some state university and bring them to Harvard, where many of them will fail. Or MIT is a better example, that the average black student at MIT is in the bottom 10% of MIT students in math. But he is in the top 90% of all American students in math, because MIT students are so phenomenal in mathematics. Something like 1/4 of all the black students going to MIT do not graduate. You're talking about a pool of people who score at the 90th percentile in math, whom you are artificially turning into failures by mismatching them with the school. The problem is not whether you believe that school desegregation should have ended. I believe it should have ended long before. George Bork believes it should have ended long before. What he and what I have objected to are the principles used in that decision, because those principles take on a life of their own, and they come back to haunt you in other areas. Obviously, this old phrase, hard cases make bad law, derived from that fact. You dream up a principle to reach this result, and then the principle has a life of its own.
So the principle of desegregating the schools.
No, that wasn't the principle. The principle was the reason that they picked for it.
Well, that's all I'm saying. Okay, the reasons they picked,
Yes.
desegregating the schools, you and Judge Bork agree were the wrong principles, and they should have not. So the court shouldn't have done that.
No, the court should have done it.
Oh, okay.
Both of us have said the court should have done it.
I see.
And in my case, and I think in his case, the court should have done it a lot sooner.
How?
They should have ruled that it wasn't equal protection of the law, because nobody in his right mind believes that there was equal protection of the law in the Jim Crow era of these school systems.
I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying.
Then you see, this is what bothers me. People are talking about how judges should be sensitive to this particular group or that particular group. And if that means anything, if it means he's applying the law differently, that's precisely how blacks were held down for generations in the South.
So
by
literacy
applying the law differently.
So literacy tests,
Exactly.
as long as they were equally applied, are all right.
Sure.
So I thought you thought. I gather from your comments about MIT and Harvard that you don't think there's enough blacks out there who are qualified to fill the number of vacancies allotted for them in those schools. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the word qualifies really is misleading.
I got it. So, but my point is, you believe there are not enough black women and men out there that are the same as white women and men
That's what you guys believe.
to go through Harvard and
They still believe that today.
MIT. What you're
It's
saying.
not a question of what I think, it's a factual matter.
So factually, you're saying factually there are not enough.
Factually, this study's already been done by Clipgard at Harvard, and the figures are all there. Anyone can look them up.
Yep.
Okay, no, I just want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking.
That was Thomas Sowell. This was great.
Well, let me just be clear. I got into Harvard only because of affirmative action. I went to a school no one had ever heard of in Denver, Colorado, in a small suburb. I didn't go to Exeter or Andover. I didn't have college test prep. I just happened to be really nerdy and smart and have really good grades and good SAT scores. But someone came to Denver, Colorado to look for me. A Harvard recruiter flew to Denver, and I met up with her at the Village Inn restaurant and did a pre-interview to get to pull me into Harvard. I was pulled in, and the schools like Harvard and Yale that I got into affirmatively. Yes. And it was literally not saying we're going to take an unqualified person and put them in Harvard. Yes. We're going to take a very qualified person who we would never know existed and put them in Harvard. That's how I got there. That's how Ketanji got there. That's how Justice Jackson, I should say. Justice Jackson got there. It's how Clarence Thomas got there.
That's not a good argument. If you had good grades and someone came and got you, your SAT score was great, you were smart, I mean, you didn't need affirmative action. I mean, the whole idea behind affirmative action is to look past somebody's grade and look at the color of their skin. So that argument didn't really make any sense. So I'll leave past that. Good talker, though. Joy Reid, you can do the talking. But once you start peeling things off, it's very obvious that this didn't make any sense.
and I always tell it like it is.
What are your thoughts on, let's say, racial quotas or diversity hiring in the context of jobs or university?
Programs like affirmative action, I think, are necessary, and I think they've shown to be effective at balancing income inequality between races.
Job or opportunity should be given to the person who's got the best skill.
I think a lot of the time the perception of diversity hire is that these people are unqualified, where in a lot of the times you're giving somebody the shot to show that they are qualified.
If they didn't have those quotas, then less black people would be in certain programs. If they were to get assessed, they say, okay, no, I have 5 Asians, I have 10 black people.
Isn't that discrimination, though?
Of course it's discrimination, but it has to be this way because that's the world we have created.
I would point to things like the Harvard scandal, where really, really qualified Asian kids, so they're getting left out. You can have a shitty doctor because somebody got into med school, but their scores weren't that great. But I believe in quality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. I think that's Marxist, and you can only enforce that with a gun.
I've also heard instances that it actually hurts Asian people the most, who is definitely a minority with only 6% in America. In that sense, do you think that's creating more division?
I only know what I've read, and that's that they have been effective for helping historically underprivileged races.
That doesn't make any sense.
I think blacks are very smart and intelligent. I don't think we need the help of the government to
fighting force in the history
to help us to become anything. I think we can work hard. I think we can study hard. I believe black people are smart enough without the handout. That's what I believe. And affirmative action, looking at my skin color to determine whether or not these kids deserve to be in these high Ivy League schools, I don't think that's okay. I think also even legacy admission is wrong because your parents was rich and has donated so much money into the school system, therefore you're accepted. That's also wrong. You know, I think there has to be, we simply have to go on merit, man. It's all about responsibility, accountability, hard work. I believe in that. I believe your skin color should not be the reasons for any of this diversity. This is not to say black people cannot succeed. We're not intelligent. I think affirmative action was racist, and I think it's still racist. I'm so glad that the Supreme Court has struck it down and they woke up and realized how bad of a thing this is. And yeah, there's still a loophole in the law where they can still somewhat write and speak about their experience as blacks in this country. And some colleges will still consider whether or not they will admit those students. I mean, that's kind of like a big loophole here where they can exploit it. But nevertheless, I think we are on a positive direction here. And I think more black people will show their hard work. This is a time for black folks like myself and many others and my sons. Put in the work, man. Study, man. Get your work done. The Chinese people are studying. Their grades are great. Instead of spending time on TikTok and girlfriend and listening to music, running the streets, get in your books. That's the solution. And I don't think that's a bad solution. And I don't think that's racist. It's just common sense. And Thomas Sowell said it. Joy Reid can yell and speak all she wants. It doesn't change the fact that affirmative action was not a good thing. It's just the way it is, man. Put in the work, put your brain to use, and treat everyone equally.
Tell them the truth.
All right, this is how the scripture says it about respect of persons or kind of group thinking, preferential group thinking kind of thing. This is something that ought not to be done. Everybody must be treated equally under the law with the same respect, irrespective of their past. Now, it is okay to understand the differences in the people group, but however, we gotta apply the law equally if we want to be fair. Now, here is the thing. For if there come unto you your assembly, a man with gold ring and godly apparel, and there came in also a poor man in a vile raiment. So there is the rich man and there is the poor man. You have respect to him that weareth the gay clothes, which is the rich man, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor man, stand thou there, or sit under my footstool. So what's going on here? You are placing one man above another as a result of their social status or financial status, should I say. So the affluent man gets more love, the poor man gets rejected. The Bible is telling you you can't do that. Why? Because you are being partial in your judgment. This ought not to do. It is an evil thought. Now, when you place a black kid or you accept them because of the color of their skin as a result of their past, because you don't think black people are smart enough to make it through these schools, to put in the work that they need to put in to make it up there. It's like, that's being partial. You see, you have respect of persons. The Bible says you commit sin and are convinced as the transgressors. That's Bible. So the scripture is like, God is very diverse, but God is also very balanced. While God opens the door for different views and perspective and ethnicity and culture, he accepts some of that, right? But in the process, he keeps the law to be, the law doesn't change, right? The law remains equal. God understands we all have different personalities and different understanding, different approach, different style. He gets it. And God is actually very diverse, but in God's way of dealing with diversity, he doesn't change the law because of a people group, people's culture, or people's historical accounts, or because of because of their skin color. That's not Bible. That's not Christian. That is not something you should be doing. Not in the church, not in this country, not if we want to prosper. And I think Thomas Sowell, once again, man, this man was way ahead of his time. I'm so glad. I think he's really happy. He lived to see the day when the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action. Congratulations, Thomas, and many others who's been working hard in the field. That was a good one. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Comment below. Share your thought and perspective with me. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.